Hello, I'm Ruth Martin, and I'm going to read from my sample translation of Drei Kameradinnen. Sisters in Arms is the English title, which is Shida Bazyar's second novel. It comes out on the 15th of April, and you can find a report on it and my interview with Shida on the New Books in German website. The story centres on the unshakable friendship between three young women from immigrant families. The reading is from very near the start of the book. One of the three friends, Saya, has been arrested on suspicion of starting a deadly fire at a block of flats, and the narrator is sitting down to write about what really happened while she waits for her to be released. It's Friday night, 2:28 a.m, and I'm trying to start from the beginning. That won't work because the beginning would be a time before we were born. So I'll go back a little way, but start kind of more in the middle, with last Monday. Because every week begins with a Monday, and in that way pretends to be a new thing. So we won't notice everything is just carrying on miserably carrying on, and nothing is happening. But Monday was before Saya arrived. Saya got on a plane in her city on Tuesday afternoon, and landed in Honey's and my city on Tuesday evening. So let's start with Tuesday. I smiled at him, and it was just a nice smile, clearly not flirtatious, and he smiled back, and it clearly was flirtatious, and he spoke to me, Saya said, passing the beer bottles to us, in English. In English, I laughed, taking the two bottles and passing one to Honey. How considerate. Honey laughed as well, albeit a little uncertainly, gave the bottle back to me, and proffered her lighter. The only smoker out of the three of us, she had the necessary equipment, but no idea how to take the lid off a bottle with it. I gave her the opened bottle back, clinked mine against it, and said, I bet he had a thick German accent as well. I imitated a thick German accent by saying something in English. I did it twice in a row, so we could clink bottles and giggle twice. An initial, awkward giggle, the kind you let out when you've laughed together plenty before, but haven't seen each other for a long time. Not only did his English have a thick German accent, it was also full of mistakes, of course, Saya went on, resting her chin on her bent knees and looking out over the city. That's the most embarrassing thing about these people who think they have to speak English to us. They can't even do it. It's okay to speak bad English, though, isn't it? Said Honey, whose English wasn't so good either, of course. And to be honest, nor was mine. Honey's wasn't good because she'd been to a bad school, and in my case, it was because I'd never needed it before I moved to this city, where it was good manners to start speaking English straight away when a foreigner came to hang out with you. Saya's English was world-class. She'd only found a use for it after school too, but then she'd travelled around the world with it, lived in this metropolis and that, had relationships, done a degree. No one has to be able to speak English, I know that, she said now. But that's the really weird thing about these people. If you're not that good at something, then you wait and see if you actually need to do it or not, don't you? You don't just start babbling away at poor defenceless people. Guys like him think our German must be so non-existent that their abysmal English is a better way to communicate with us. And what did he say? I asked. Did you answer in German? No way, said Saya. The flight was an hour and a half and he was sitting right next to me. If I'd answered in German, I would have had to talk to him for longer. I said in English that my English wasn't very good, and then he looked really sympathetic and just smiled. And what if he was simply a nice person and was just trying to accommodate you? Honey asked, looking out at the city too, or rather across it, as if somewhere beyond its roofs and church towers lay the proof that people only ever mean well. You were on a plane, after all. You never know who comes from where. He might have spoken to you in German if he'd met you on the street. I'm sure he just wanted to chat. Yeah, whatever, but this story isn't over yet, said Saya. She sounded completely normal. The way you sound when you're happy to tell an everyday kind of story, to warm us up to one another again. And she told it in such an offhand, incidental manner. So we really had no inkling of what was to come.